Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Rukmini Krishna, Jaya Rukmini Krishna, Jaya Rukmini Krishna, Jaya Rukmini Krishna, Jaya Gaurani Jai, Jaya Gaurani Jai, Gaurani Jai, Jaya Gaurani Jai, Jaya Gaurani Jai, Jai Nitya Pravishtavam Vishnupat Paramhansa Parimrajagachari Astotra Shata Shishma Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Swan Pratishtha Sajju Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Sajju Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Bente Kaho Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Jai Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय श्री मायापुर धाम की जय श्री रघुनाथ धाम की जय गंगा माई की जय जमुना माई की जय भक्ति देव की जय वृंदा देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय इस्कॉन यूथ फोरम संडे प्रोग्राम की जय सामवेद भक्त वृंद की जय निताय प्रेमानंदे all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to the assembled devotees all glories to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Hare Krishna. Welcome to this Sunday's ISKCON Youth Forum special session for the youths. Today's topic is, as written on the board, what does it mean to depend on Krishna? I think all of you are following the ISKCON Youth Forum Facebook page, so you get the notification. Anyone who's not following, and that ISKCON Youth Forum, every Sunday you will get to know beforehand what is the topic, who is the speaker. You know, that every Sunday you're aware. Every Sunday we are having this session, right? You can be informed beforehand from there. So now I'm going to use the board, the whole microphone with my hand and camera. Sort of. Now, we will begin by making a list of in the average person, what are the most important things in the course of one's life, what the average person is dependent on. From the time, we're just taking an average person. So let's give him a name also, this average person. What name should we give him? Gaurango Das. One holy name only we give, Gaurango Das. So this person, Gaurango Das. So Gaurango Das, our average human being, see, from the time one is born, one is dependent on, right, parents. Correct, right, from childhood. And rightly so. We are dependent on our parents. Now, actually, our experience of depending on parents is our first idea of what it is to like to depend on Krishna. That is actually a representation. When we are small child, we do not know anything, right? Small child means whatever a small child sees, it puts in the mouth. When Srila Prabhupada in 1965, he arrived in New York City by Jaladuta. Then immediately he arrived in New York City. Then he went to a place called Butler, Pennsylvania. And in Butler, Pennsylvania, he was staying in the home, but he was staying in the YMCA, but his sponsor, the person who was Prabhupada's host. His name was Gopal Agarwal, was an Indian gentleman. And this Gopal Agarwal, he had married a foreign lady named Sally Agarwal, her name. And they had a son. The son's name was Bridge. So this was, Srila Prabhupada arrived in America around September. It was in September or October. This Bridge was just some months, maybe just 1 year maximum or less than 1 year old. So one of the first things Bridge did was, he took Srila Prabhupada's shoe and put it in his mouth. And Mrs. Sally Agarwal, she freaked out. His shoe has been all over India. And my son is putting it inside his mouth. So this is childhood. You depend on parents, you just simply put things in your mouth. Then we become dependent on school, correctly so. Right? We're dependent on school, we go to school, we are learning, starting right from A for apple, B for ball, right up to, trigonometry, algebra, and higher things. Then we come to, college. We're dependent on the college, university, right? We are progressing. We're dependent on all these things, right? And then comes a major breakthrough. We have some career, some job, some business, some means of livelihood, which is a major area of dependence. We're depending. That is our Gauranga Das, the average person. Then for the average person, the family comes into the picture. His own family. First it was his parents. Now he has his own family. Correct? And so on. I'm just listing a few things. Just a few things. Right? One also. Anything else we can put in this list? Sort of cannot say anything from there. Oh, yes. It's okay. Did you miss out something important? You can, more or less, I think all the main, I'm just talking about the broad categories. Now, this is what we are dependent on, right? But the thing is, now we will show you, we can ask this question, how dependable are these? how much can we depend on them really? Okay. Now I want to read out one from the Srimad Bhagavatam, one text and purport. Where is Sora? Not this Sora, the cameraman Sora. So, there, you will have to keep, you have to be nearby. Then you'll be a dependable cameraman. If I'm shifting from there to there. Yeah. Just on few occasions I'll be doing this. It's not going to be a regular thing. Okay. So this is a text from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 1, entitled The First Step in God Realization. Text number 4, 2.1.4. Deha pratya kalatradishu atma shanyeshu asasva api tesham pramodo nidhanam pashyan apina pashyanti. Persons devoid of Atma Tattva do not inquire into the problems of life, being too attached to the fallible soldiers. I'm repeating the word, fallible soldiers, like the body, children, and wife. Although sufficiently experienced, they do not see their inevitable destruction. That was the translation by Srila Prabhupada. Now the purport by Srila Prabhupada. This material world is called the world of death. Every living being, beginning from Brahma, whose duration of life is some thousands of millions of years, down to the germs who live for a few seconds only, is struggling for existence. Therefore, this life is a sort of fight with material nature, which imposes death upon all. In the human form of life, a living being is competent enough to come to an understanding of this great struggle for existence. But being too attached to family members, society, country, etc., he wants to win over the invincible material nature by the aid of bodily strength, children, wife, relatives, etc. Although he is sufficiently experienced in the matter by dint of past experience and previous examples of his deceased predecessors, he does not see that the so-called fighting soldiers, like the children, relatives, society members, and countrymen, are all fallible in the great struggle. One should examine the fact that his father or his father's father has already died, and that he himself is therefore also sure to die. And similarly, his children, who are the would-be fathers of their children, will also die in due course. No one will survive in this struggle with material nature. The history of human society definitely proves it. Yet the foolish people will suggest that in the future, they will be able to live perpetually with the help of material science. This poor fund of knowledge exhibited by human society is certainly misleading. And it is all due to ignoring the constitution of the living soul. This material world exists only as a dream due to our attachment to it. Otherwise, the living soul is always different from material nature. The great ocean of material nature is tossing with the waves of time, and the so-called living conditions are something like foaming bubbles, which appear before us as bodily, self, wife, children, society, countrymen, etc. Due to lack of knowledge of self, we become victimized by the force of ignorance and thus spoil the valuable energy of human life in a vain search after permanent living conditions, which are impossible in this material world. Our friends, relatives, and so-called wives and children are not only fallible, but also bewildered by the outward glamour of material existence. As such, they cannot save us. Still, we think that we are safe within the orbit of family, society, or country. Jai Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna. So, from what we read here is, how dependable are these? These are struggling. The spelling of struggling. Double G or single G? Double G. Struggling in material nature. And we'll discuss this first. Subject to death. This is what, in essence, what we read in the purport, what Srila Prabhupada is telling. And one important word Prabhupada is using is, these are all fallible soldiers. Fallible soldiers. Fallible. What is the meaning of the word? Fallible. So fallible means that which can fall down, which can collapse, subject to destruction. Subject to destruction. And we are thinking, see, on one hand, okay, we do depend on these things, but at the same time, we have to be aware of the harsh reality. There is material nature. Here it is. And all of us, all these items are subject to these laws of material nature. They have a beginning and end. We have to be free and frank. I'm very grateful to my parents, wonderful parents I had. They gave me good education, etc., like that. But now, both my parents are no more. They're dead and gone. They're part of history out there. So I can depend on parents up to a limited time. Up to a limited. And also, when we are small, I am fully dependent on my parents. But when parents, they grow old, they have become 75, 80, 85, they become dependent on the child. The children grow up and they become, the roles become reversed. The roles become reversed. So this is not an absolute dependency. Then things like our education system, the school, college, university, etc. Up to a point, in a limited way, I can depend on them. But will they keep me forever? Right? As soon as graduation comes, as soon as the class 10 exams are over, out. Don't come back to our school. Go, move on forward. Then we go on forward to class 11, class 12, or PU first year, PU second year. Like that, we move on. There also 2 years. Then also when that is over, out. They will not allow us to stay inside the college building. Okay, out. Then we move on to college, university, and get our higher degree. Right? But again, we cannot remain dependent on them. We have to move forward. So you understand, everything is subject to material nature. Everything like a struggle it is. Then even though I get a nice career, high-paying salary, I'm only there, or even if I have my own business, it's limited, no? For a limited time. Dhirubhai Ambani, one of the wealthiest Indian citizens, Dhirubhai Ambani, where is he now? Dhirubhai, not Anil Ambani and Mukesh Ambani, their father, Dhirubhai Ambani. Gone, finished. He moved on, right? So even having a multi crore rupee business, that also you cannot depend on. You have to leave. You have to leave it behind. And of course, we just read out here, our family members are like family soldiers, fallible soldiers. They don't stay on forever. So the point is you just analyze. It's a fact that so many things I depend on. So many things in this material world I am depending on. Thing is, I cannot put my full dependence. Everything is relative. Whatever I'm depending on is dependent on something else, and so on. You understand? This is a very struggle for existence. So this is a problem. So the advice given in our Srimad Bhagavatam is, don't put all your, you can say, all your dependence on things of the material world. Okay, understand this? Like that. Now the point is, now we are coming to the knowledge that is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. So just for a dust. Knowledge given in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we erase this now. All is being recorded, no? Now we are coming to the main point. This was like, the things of the material world are only up to a certain point we can be dependent upon. Now from Srimad Bhagavatam, we learn actually Krishna is the absolutely is the absolutely dependable person. I'm straight away coming to the point. Because this is statement of Bhagavad Gita, the statement of Srimad, the knowledge we can get from Bhagavad Gita, knowledge we can get from Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Krishna's situation is, Krishna has been there from before the creation of the universe. You know that? Before creation of the universe, Krishna was there. The creation of the universe, as far as we just know it, with Brahma, starts with Brahma, but before Brahma, there was Krishna. Brahma in our Bhakti Shastri course, we have our Bhakti Shastri school. Brahma's lifespan, do you remember? 311. Excellent. 311 trillion, 40 billion. You can imagine such somebody's lifespan. 311 trillion, 40 billion. Years, earthly years is the lifespan of Brahma. But Krishna's lifespan is not 311 trillion, 40 billion. No beginning, no end. Of course, it may seem like Krishna was born, Krishna died. It may seem like that from Mahabharata. It may seem like that. But otherwise, we celebrate Janmashtami, Krishna's birthday. You say, Prabhu, you are telling no birth for Krishna. But then why you are celebrating Janmashtami? Why you made such big pandal and all that? Was that some hoax? Hoax of a birthday party you all made? But the fact is, it is described very nicely. It is like the sun. At morning 6 a.m., sun rises. And now in Guwahati, at 5 o'clock only the sun. At 5 p.m., the sun sets. Right? But actually, from the point of view of the sun, is there any sunrise and sunset? The sun is always there, no? Is there any time? Just like one joke I heard. There was this foolish politician. He's telling the scientist, you must build the sun is so, if we send rocket, the rocket will melt. He said, politician is telling, Are you fools, you don't know? You launched the rocket at night time. So this is the idea. But the sun is always there. Daytime or night time, sun is sun out there. So Krishna sometimes it seems like he manifests himself on this earth planet and he leaves the earth planet. But Krishna's case is not birth and death like us. Krishna, when he comes to the earth planet on the same body, he maintains his same body, he performs his Leela for some time, pastimes, then he leaves and he goes on to some other planet, some other universe. He doesn't have to change body. His body, same body, he remembers everything. It's just like an eternal, eternal, like there are some, now we don't see so much. Previously, there was circus party. A circus will come to the town. They'll perform for 1 week, then they will move on to the next town. But the circus is circus, same out there. It only seems circus is born today, and after 1 week, circus died. The circus is always there. The animals and the performers and clowns and all are always there. But Krishna and all his associates, they are always present out there. So this is Krishna's position. He is not subject to death, first of all. Krishna is absolutely dependable person. Krishna is not subjected to material nature. Krishna is not subjected to material nature. Material nature means there will be birth, there will be death. But Krishna is not subject to the material nature. So he's not someone like undependable. Right? And everything is the absolutely dependable person. Now, coming to our topic, see, the point I'm making is things of this material nature are undependable at the end of the day. But the good news is someone is there who is dependable, and that is Krishna. That is the information from Srimad Bhagavatam. Right? Now, our point is, what does it mean to depend on Krishna? We are telling that we have to depend on Krishna now. What does it exactly mean? What dependence on Krishna, what it is not, and what it is. We will now our discussion. Now, depend on Krishna, a few things. First, from Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm going to read. This is from another passage I'm going to read. This is the prayer is spoken by Queen Kunti. This is from the eighth chapter of first canto, text number 37. O my Lord, is Queen Kunti, mother of the Pandavas. She's speaking to Krishna directly. O my Lord, you have executed all duties yourself. Are you leaving us today, though we are completely dependent on your mercy and have no one else to protect us, now when all kings are at enmity with us? This prayer by Kunti is at the end of the Kurukshetra war. After Kurukshetra war, everything is over, and Krishna is going to leave Kunti and the Pandavas. And where is Krishna going to go? He's going to go to Dwarka. But Kunti is very much concerned. Now, this depend means one depend on mercy of the Lord. This is one important word we heard. We now depend on Krishna. Someone may say, when they use the phrase depend on Krishna, it may seem like I become a lazy fellow. I don't do anything. Depend on Krishna. Krishna will send me. In other words, how many are students here? Few are students here. Okay. Now, if I take this, in a very lazy manner, I will not study. I will depend on Krishna. In exam time, I'm a very good devotee, very pure. Krishna will hold my hand and write the paper. Lovely. What Krishna will do, he will make sure all answers are wrong and you get a 0. Is it full number 1? Why? Oh, you think I'm you're such a lazy fellow. But as a student, depending on Krishna means just like any other student, I study as hard, if not harder. I go through everything, all the notes, all the lessons, all the worksheets, everything. Stay up late, whatever is required. I study. But I'm depending on the mercy of Krishna. What does it mean? I know that just by my intellectual strength is not sufficient. I will do my best. I have my memory. I have my, skills. note-taking skills, study skills, all these things are there. But I know that this itself is not sufficient. What is required is Krishna's mercy. The mercy of Krishna for me to go on. If Krishna wants, in 1 second, can make me forget. If Krishna wants, he will allow me to remember everything. He'll give me the skills. So devotee is aware of this. Not that he's lazy, he does everything that is required. But at the end, Krishna's mercy. Actually, this was a good example. In July, this rocket was launched, this Chandrayaan. Some of the top scientists, before the launching of the rocket, they went to Tirupati temple with the model of the Chandrayaan rocket. And they prayed to the Lord. So somebody may think, oh, these are supposed to be rational, hardcore scientists. Why they are praying to God? But they are fully aware. Our effort plus the goodwill of Krishna. God's goodwill, God's mercy, God's blessing. God's blessing is not there. We may be great scientists. Oh, it will not be successful. So that sense was there. That understanding was there. Okay, so here, okay, I'm going to read out from the purport. We'll learn some very interesting things. The material disease is due to thinking of becoming independent of everything. Right? We are trying our best. We are thinking we are independent. 1 second. But the cruel material nature does not allow us to become independent. The false attempt to become independent of the stringent laws of nature is known as material advancement of experimental knowledge. The highest goal of human civilization is to work hard under the guidance of the Lord and become completely dependent on Him. The highest achievement of perfect civilization is to work with valor, but at the same time depend completely on the Lord. The Pandavas were the ideal executors of this standard of civilization. Undoubtedly, they were completely dependent on the goodwill of Lord Sri Krishna, but they were not idle parasites of the Lord. They were all highly qualified, both by personal character and by physical activities. Still, they always looked for the mercy of the Lord because they knew that every living being is dependent by constitutional position. The perfection of life is therefore to become dependent on the will of the Lord instead of becoming falsely independent in the material world. Those who try to become falsely independent of the Lord are called anath, or without any guardian. Whereas those who are completely dependent on the will of the Lord are called sanath, or those having someone to protect them. Therefore, we must try to be sanath, so that we can always be protected from the unfavorable condition of material existence. By the deluding power of external material nature, we forget that the material condition of life is the most undesirable perplexity. Okay. So here, from whatever we read, we'll discuss these things. So Krishna is the absolutely dependable person. Krishna is not subjected to material nature. Okay, so here what is happening? Two words, anath versus sanath. In a higher sense, see, one may, as I said, one may have parents, but still one may be anath, because one is not depending on the protection of the Lord. You understood this? Anath, this is anath in a higher sense. Nath means having a master. The word Nath means, right? Many have the surname Nath. Any Nath here? I'm sure you're the Nath. Your Udit Nath. Your Himanshu Nath. Nath means master. That's the surname. Nath means master. Anath, no master. No master means no supreme master. That means I have forgotten. I'm trying to be, the Anath is trying to be independent. Independent of what? Independent. Independent of the good will of Krishna. Or independent of the good will of Krishna, protection. Protection of Krishna. So this is the position of the Anath. So we have to check ourselves whether I am Anath, whether I'm coming in the Anath category. I'm trying to be, I don't, my mood is, I don't need God. I can do it all by myself. Everything by my power, by my, you understood? This is the Anath mentality. But on the other hand, what is the Sanat way of thinking? Example of Anath is, I'll tell you. Example is Ravana. Ravan, he thought he could do everything by his power. Right? I can build a golden city. By my power, I can go to Swarga. Typical example of Anath, Ravana. Everything I'm independent of. But the Sanat person is dependent. One who is dependent on mercy or goodwill of Krishna. Works hard. It's not that is a lazy. Works hard, not idle. He's not an idle fellow like the Pandavas. Extremely hardworking the Pandavas were, but fully dependent on the mercy of Krishna. You understand? So this is, when we speak about what does it mean to depend on Krishna, we have to keep this point in mind. Not like a lazy fellow, not what you call thinking that supposing one is a working person and has taken, how many are living in some rented place? Some of you you've taken it like a room on rent. Now I think that Krishna will pay my rent. What I will do whole day? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. When the landlady comes, right? Hara, please. ऊपर से आएगा. अरे टेव को ऊपर चला जा. नहीं चाहिए. I don't want you. Don't want you. And then if you complain, and if you are going to kick me out of your room, where I will stay? What will be the answer? Your Uparwala will fix for you. You depend on him. He will provide you the next accommodation. What is your why you have to worry about this? So like this time. So we know that if you're staying in a room, you have taken on rent like anybody else, you have to work, you have to earn, you have to pay the rent. But at the same time, knowing that I have to depend on the Lord's mercy, I have to depend on the goodwill of the Lord, protection of the Lord. This is the meaning of depending on the mercy of the Lord, depending on the what you call the goodwill of the Lord. Okay. Now, now I don't read it. Another way of looking at depend on Krishna. That is given in the very first and second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, in the very first chapter is called Arjun Vishada Yoga. Arjun was Vishad. The word Vishad means, or in Ohomia, Bikhat. This is, he was bewildered. He was in ignorance. Arjuna was in ignorance. He was bewildered, very big, what to do. But what did Arjuna do? At first, he tried to rationalize everything, but he he could not fight the war. His Gandiva, Arjuna is famous for his Gandiva bow. His Gandiva was Gandiva Samstrat Hastan. The Gandiva was slipping from his hand. He could not even hold his Gandiva. And this is a very, actually a very big news. Arjuna not being able to hold his Gandiva. There's a story behind it. The story is at the beginning of the Kurukshetra, before the war, Arjuna took a vow. Arjuna's vow was, if anybody tells me you give up, you drop your Gandiva, they're like an insult, that is. If somebody tells me you abandon your Gandiva, I will kill that person. Because that's a great insult for me. Arjuna's vow. Now, once what happened, during the course of the war, there was a fight between Yudhishthir and Karna. On one side Karna, one side Yudhishthir. Now Karna, he very badly wounded Yudhishthir. Very, very, almost fatal it was. So Yudhishthir had to be carried away from the war to his camp for medical treatment. Then Arjuna, he came to know about this, that my elder brother is very seriously wounded. So Arjuna, he told Partha Sarathi, he told Krishna, you please take me to Yudhishthir's camp. So he came to Yudhishthir's camp and he saw his brother was in bad shape, lying on bed, very badly wounded. Now Yudhishthir saw Arjuna enter the camp. Then Yudhishthir told Arjuna, oh, I know why you have come. You have avenged my defeat to Karna. You have now defeated Karna, you have taught him a good lesson, and you're coming here to give me that good news. He had assumed, Yudhishthir had assumed this. Then Arjuna said, no. I immediately, as soon as I got the news that you were fatally wounded, I immediately came to check how you are, everything okay, not any assistance, like that thing. Then Yudhishthir, by the will of the Lord, he became furious. Yudhishthir said, what? You have not defeated Karna? Then Yudhishthir became very wild. He said, you are a coward, you are a useless fellow. You don't deserve to hold the Gandiva. You drop your Gandiva. Yudhishthir told Arjuna. Now Arjuna said, oh my God, I took a vow. Anybody tells me to throw my Gandiva, I must kill that person. So now I have to kill Yudhishthir, my brother. Then what Arjuna should do? He turned to Krishna. Krishna help. Then Krishna said, okay, there are two ways to kill a person. One is you can physically kill him. And another way is you can give so much gali to that person. You can dishonor that person so much that you can kill him by words, by giving gali. Then okay, then Arjuna closed his eyes and started giving gali. When Draupadi was being disrobed, what did you do? Nothing you did, like the one after another. You are the one who put us in the gambling match. This, blah, blah, blah. He went on. Then Krishna said, okay, enough. So you have insulted Yudhishthir. Anyway, the point is, Arjuna dropping his Gandiva is a serious matter. So this was the position Arjuna was before the Bhagavad Gita was spoken. Then what Arjuna did was understanding that by his intelligence, by his strength, by his ability, he will not be able to solve. He surrendered. He took dependence on Krishna. How did he surrender? Do you remember the verse? Karpanya dosha pahata.
Karpanya dosha pahata svabhava pachamittva dharma samudra cheta yat shreyasya nishpitam duhitatme shishyaste sadhinam prapanam.
Wonderful. Thank you. So, so Here Arjuna is leading to Krishna. I'm completely confused. I'm completely bewildered. Correct? Now I'm surrendering to you. I'm depending on you. You please accept me as your disciple and instruct me. You instruct me. You understood? So this is the very an important aspect in dependence to Krishna. Later on, we'll summarize. Remember these points. So clicking and that. Okay. Hare Krishna. Okay. So now, accept instructions. This is the meaning. Accept instructions given by Krishna. To depend on somebody means accept that person's instructions. In other words, mold my life. I must mold my life in such a way it is in sync with instructions given by Krishna. Now, practically what it means. For us, wherever we are, whether I am working, whether I'm a student, whatever I am doing, I'm a job seeker. Anyone job seeker? Okay. Like whichever situation in life I am. Okay. What is this? Accept instructions given by Krishna. Now this, in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna has given one instruction to Arjuna. The instruction is Mam Anusmara Mam Anusmara. Let's check the spelling of Yudhya one. Tell me. Mam Anusmara means remember me. Remember me. And Yudhyasya. Yudhyasya means and fight. Mam Anusmara, two parts there. Mam Anusmara. And Yudhyasya. What is spelling? Y. Y-U-D-H. Y-A. Yudhya. Cha. Yudhya Cha. Yeah. Mam Anusmara, Yudhya Cha. And fight. Yudhya means fight. Cha means and. Cha means and. Right? Remember me and fight. So the fight, whatever we are undergoing, that is our battlefield. In the case of Arjuna, Kurukshetra. In my case, my college campus and whatever I have to do, or my office, or my business. Anyone doing business here? Own business? What is your line of business? Sandwich. Okay. That sandwich factory. Bread and okay. Okay, nice. Very nice. Sandwich factory. Okay. So that is your battleground. Your sandwich factory. Anyone else? Somebody else? What is your business? Mobile accessories. So you have a shop where? Fancy Bazaar. That is your Kurukshetra battlefield. Auto where? Automobile. Which place in Guwahati? Maligaon. Your showroom. For which company? For Suzuki, you're having excellent like that. So that is your battleground. So I conduct my battle in my battlefield. But Mam Anusmara. I remember I have to learn the art of, that is the dependence on Krishna. Not that this will go on, not that I'm a lazy fellow. Now, for those who are not devotees, only this part. Like for Duryodhan, it was only war. For Arjuna, war, but more important than the war was remembering Krishna. Mamanusmara, remembering, being very Krishna conscious. Being very Krishna conscious. That is in the case of Arjun case. So here, what it translates to us is, just two, there's so many ways to remember Krishna, etc. I will boil it down to two ways. Two ways to remembering Krishna. One is take shelter, remember the holy name. Take the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. The Hare Krishna Mahamantra is introduced by Krishna in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is the easiest way to remember. Whatever we are doing, keep the Hare Krishna Mahamantra playing. I can chant it myself, or if I'm busy for some way. Nowadays in the mobile, you can keep it on. Correct? In the mobile, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, Kirtan, all this can be playing on the mobile. You understood? So this is and B, offer. We have, we have to eat. Nobody can avoid this. Eating must be done. So at least whatever, even if it's not the full thing, even if it's the banana, the water, the apple, whatever, some, offer it to a picture of Krishna. Even if I don't know any mantra. There are some mantras, but supposing I don't know any mantras, does not matter. Just in my own English or in Ohomia or Bengali or Hindi or in my own native, request Krishna. Krishna, I am offering this to you. Please accept. And Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare, in a simple way. Like that thing. And Krishna is kind enough. He'll understand. He will accept. So at least, if I have to eat lunch in my office or college or whatever, lunch I have to eat. Now, the whole entire lunch may not be prasad. At least for starters, I'm saying. Correct? For starters, something is prasad at least. One sweet, one fruit, or even if nothing else, at the minimum, the water you are drinking, you offer it. Water you cannot avoid. Everything else you can avoid. Water you have to drink. You carry your own water bottle or whatever, right? That water you offer it to Krishna. Just the simple, as I said, Krishna, please accept this. So at least some remembrance of Krishna is there when you're in your food. And gradually try to expand. Gradually try to make everything into prasad. But at least I'm saying, taking small steps. At least nobody can say it's impossible for me to offer. At least water can be offered, if nothing else. One fruit, whatever, some sweet, some mumphali, badam, whatever. This Krishna will give intelligence. I remember when I was introduced to this offering thing. I was staying in hostel in St. Xavier's College, Kolkata. I was a hostel student. I was in third year, final year, that is, which is equivalent to like fifth semester now. So what I used to do is I would soak some boot overnight, little bit of boot I would soak. Next morning, offer that boot. Well, it was a simple thing. Offer that boot, and I had a Krishna picture which I got from the temple, and I felt so happy. It gave me wow, one good thing I'm doing in my life. Whole day, God knows what I'm doing. Being a college student, God knows what I'm doing. Wow, at least, one auspicious thing. And that was like giving me so much happiness, some auspiciousness in my life. Something I am offering. Correct? So remember, just so depend on Krishna, follow Krishna's instructions, and this is Krishna's instructions. Remember me. Do whatever you're doing. Remember me. And by chanting the holy name and by offering the food. You got it? That's what. Few more things I'll say. You can, from now on, I'll be sitting. It's important, see, it is important, in the name of, again, I'm repeating the point, depending on Krishna, it also, there is a connection between at what level of advancement I am. If in the case, there was one very great Acharya, his name was Madhavendra Puri. Madhavendra Puri, his level, his consciousness level was so high. He was such an advanced, most advanced devotee he was. His level of dependence was, I will not even eat. I will constantly be chanting the holy name. That was his level, and he was very serious about it. If food comes, well and good. If food does not come, it's okay with me. I will not struggle for food. So that was his level.
Consciousness में कृष्णा थोड़ा देखना है.
It's coming from where? Hare Krishna. Okay. Where was it from? From the mobile? I see. Oh, okay. So, so Madhavendra Puri, the story is, once he was in Govardhan in Vrindavan. He was in Govardhan, and Madhavendra Puri was simply, he was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Not at all worried about anything. But then Krishna was concerned that this person has not eaten anything. So Krishna came disguised as a cowherd boy, and he brought milk. He brought some nice milk for Madhavendra Puri. And he told Madhavendra Puri that from the nearby village, they saw you from distance. Baba is must be hungry. He's not eaten anything. So from nearby village, I have brought to you. So Madhavendra Puri accepted that milk. And the boy said that I'll come later to collect the glass. And Madhavendra Puri drank the nice quantity of milk, and little bit he dozed off. Then in his sleep, he could understand that this boy was, that breed. That boy was none other than Krishna out there. And not only that, actually, Krishna told him that for a long time, I am under the earth, the deity. There's one Gopal deity in which Madhavendra Puri, with the help of the villagers, he excavated his Gopal deity. And his Gopal deity now is worshipped in Nathdwar, Srinathji, Rajasthan, near Udaipur. Near Udaipur, about maybe half an hour or so, place called Nathdwar. And the Srinathji deity is very, very well known, very popular deity. But this was unearthed in Govardhan. This is the level of Madhavendra Puri. I'm just briefly telling you the story. But in the case of the ordinary person, you cannot imitate this. In our case, if we don't make plans to properly eat our meals, we will be only in food conscious, right? Where is food? Where is food? Where is food? We'll become like animal, like dog. Whole day dog is searching for food. Where is food? In this footpath, that footpath, where it is, where it is. We'll become like dog consciousness only. So in our case, we make plans. That our material needs, and timely we get our food. Not thinking, I'm so advanced, God will send me food. Not like that. We have to, as per our level, not imitate somebody else's level. As per our level, we have to proceed. You understood? The last lesson is depending on Krishna means to see Krishna, to perceive Krishna's hand, Krishna's intervention, Krishna's mercy at every moment in our lives. It's a fact. Krishna is helping. See, for the non-devotees, those who are not devotees, Krishna is helping, they don't know. Krishna is supplying the most basic things, oxygen. I may say God doesn't exist, God doesn't exist. Correct? But don't breathe oxygen. Breathe something else, you know. Why you're breathing God's oxygen? Fight your own battle. Don't borrow God's strength and then say that God does not exist out there. So, but the devotee is able to perceive at every moment of my life, Krishna is helping. Krishna's hand, unseen hand is there. He has helped me. He is actually allowing me to. For example, in Guwahati, how many youths are there? Lakhs and lakhs of youths. But now Krishna has allowed only a handful to come here and on a Sunday evening and to get some knowledge, some information about Krishna. Correct? So, Krishna's hand, Krishna's intervention, Krishna's what you call, timely help is available for the devotees. That is depending on Krishna. You see Krishna's unseen hand. In Bhagavad Gita, there is a shlok, Mata Parataram Nanya Kinchit Asti Dhananjaya. Right? Everything, Mata, there's no truth higher than me. Everything is resting on my Sutre Manigana Iva. Like pearls are cast, somebody is having a pearl necklace. The pearls are resting on the thread, on the sutra, manigana, like that. Everything is resting upon me. Everything is resting on Krishna. So that is ontologically. In philosophy, there's a word called ontology. Anyone by chance in college studied philosophy? Okay, I did my BSc in Maths, then I went and did my MA in philosophy. So we studied these words, ontology. Ontology is what is the nature of reality? The nature of reality is the jiva. The living entity is resting on God's energy. We are all resting on God's energy. So whether I know it or not, we are actually, ontologically, we are dependent on Krishna. We are all dependent on Krishna. Now, as devotee, we recognize this. We recognize this. I am sitting on Krishna's energy. Krishna's energy means earth, water, fire, air, ether. All of you know these Panchabhutas. Bhumi, Apa, Anala, Vayu, Tham. These 5 Panchabhutas. This whole material nature is made of Panchabhutas. And we are resting. When I'm walking, when I'm sleeping, I'm resting on Panchabhuta. When I'm standing, I'm on Panchabhuta. When I'm sitting on Panchabhuta. I'm walking on Panchabhuta. So there is Panchabhuta, that's Krishna's energy. You understand? That way, everybody is depending on, but the devotee expresses his gratefulness. Krishna, thank you so much. Krishna, it is you. My very existence is possible because of you. I'm able to see because you have given us light. I may have perfect eyes, but if there was no sunlight, if there was no whatever, some form of light or electricity, which is Krishna's energy, I'll not be able to. A basic activity like seeing, sight, is not possible. So in my seeing, I'm depending on Krishna. In my sight. In my hearing, Krishna. Krishna has made the arrangement of sound vibration. If there was, something, in physics, there is an experiment. If there is vacuum, you cannot hear the sound. You know that experiment? What is that experiment? Inside the vacuum, exactly. Inside the vacuum chamber, you keep your mobile phone and you dial the number, it will ring. Very good example. Very good example. The mobile will be ringing, but nobody can hear. Nobody can hear. So if it was vacuum everywhere, Krishna created vacuum everywhere, I will be speaking for 1 hour. You will be sitting here, but no communication. What is Prabhu talking? It's like a vacuum chamber. So this Krishna has given us non-vacuum situation. So our sight is dependent on Krishna. Our hearing is dependent on Krishna, and so on. You can analyze our smelling power, our tasting power, our sense of touch. Everything is dependent on the Supreme Lord. Okay. So if there's any question, or you can ask now. My plan wasn't to make it a very long class. I want to. Yeah.